I made a mistake the other day. I was about to film pouring the liquid plant food onto the bed, and just as I was about to press the button to record, a neighbour turned up and said hello, and we got talking, and by the time I finished and came to record, the battery had run out. So I didn't actually record pouring the liquid plant foods on the bed. But it seems to be doing okay, and the bed is ready. It's going to be planted at the end of the month, so it's only like 2-3 weeks before it's going to be planted. So I'm not going to cover it with anything for now. If there are any little weeds that pop up, they're going to get covered anyway, or if it's anything serious, I'll pull it. So this is done. The job for today is to cover the fruit bed, or this half of the fruit bed, because I've covered the other half, but all this stuff needs to be sorted. And I've put a lot of wood chips on this path before. This is where the edging was. You can see the hole, and you can see there's still a few bits of bindweed that I missed because I didn't see them through the rhubarb leaves, but I'll pull those. For all this grass and weeds and things, all I'm going to do to cover these, or to get rid of them, is do that, and then put wood chips this side of the path, and we have these to go on top of the fruit bed. So cardboard, then this lot, that's going to get rid of everything apart from bindweed and maybe the odd few dandelions, but that's okay. But that's the job for today. So get this sorted, and this path was cardboarded last year. The weeds, I mean, you can see there's still a little bit of the cardboard left, but it's only now that the weeds are coming up as the cardboard is obviously rotted down. So another layer of cardboard should keep all this lot down for another year. That's a boring job, and the worst bit is getting all these bits of tape off the cardboard. So I'm not going to record any of that. But this front area has got a lot of perennial weeds still in it, so I've decided that as I don't really need this area this year, and I've got other things to do, I'm just going to put plastic on top of it and cover it with some of those wood chips, basically just to cover the plastic and protect it so it'll last longer. And then when I've done with it, I can pass it on to somebody else. It's pretty horrible. This is all couch grass down here, and it's like this already. And if I try and dig it out, it's got roots like nylon rope that goes a mile deep, so I'm not going to do that. This piece of plastic has more or less covered this area. I'll find a little piece to cover that area and that bit. And the greenhouse is going to go there eventually, so I'm not worried about that for the moment. Right, I've covered this bed with what was over on the other bed. This is all the stuff I bought and let it rot down. This was all wood chips 3 years ago, and it's almost like compost now. And it's still got woody bits in it, but I've sprayed it on here because the bindweed has got into it, and obviously there's a lot of weed seeds in here as well, so it'll cover the plastic, but it's not a huge depth. It's only like 2 or 3 centimeters, and that will dry out, and all the bindweed will dry out, and anything that grows I can pull out easily enough because there's plastic underneath it. It can't really root into the ground, so it'll come off easy. You know, obviously this was second-hand plastic, so there are the odd few little holes here and there. So there might be the odd one that manages to get through, but I'll deal with those. Most of them should be easy enough to deal with. And in the winter I will scrape this off, take off the plastic, and here's this bed where next year we will have 2 market garden rows. So by then all the weeds and things that were underneath it, I mean it's like this underneath it, so the plastic should have killed most of these off, and dandelions will still be there, but that's something I have to live with. But things like thistles and all the grass should be sorted, and then all of this should be cleaned, and I can put it on top of this bed because this is going to settle. It's settled a slightly bit since I filled it, but over the course of the year it will settle down quite a bit more. Once it's had some rain and some weight on it, it will go down a bit. So this will go and top this bed, and anything that's left I'll just leave to add a bit of organic matter to these beds here. So that's that bit sorted. And if I'd had more time, I could have done something else and not used plastic, but I've got so much to do in so little time. This was the least worst option. If Charles Downing uses plastic, I'm sure nobody's going to chastise me for using plastic to get rid of bindweed. Right, I've gone that half. I've still got a little bit of the old wood chips I put here in this corner of this fruit bed, and I decided to put the barrels for the figs and the 2 Gojis on there. These are all the bags that have been emptied and it's gone on the hair. And this stuff, it has a lot of bindweed in it, so every shovelful I have to pick out the bindweed. And one of these big tubs, I mean, it's my size of 8 foot. So you can see that for comparison, there's a lot of bindweed in here. But taking those out and filling these fig barrels and the goji pots, because these need to go in pots, otherwise the gojis will go everywhere. And the figs are in the tall pots so that rats can't get up them, because normally you would bury a barrel or something and then put a fig in there, but the rats can run up it and they will eat all the figs. They can't run up this, because this is sort of above my knee, so they can't climb up that, so they can't get to the figs. Now I have put plastic under these because you can see the weeds love something like that, and they go and put their roots in under it. You never dig them out. So I'm putting plastic under the barrels, that way there's a little bit of room, and if a weed is out here I can dig it out. But when it's under the barrels and it's full, there's no way you can dig it out. So all this stuff that is coming up around the barrels, you can see, they love it. You know, when there's a container or something, they know they can't. I mean, out here, where there's nothing, there's a little bit, but around this Dalek is full of weeds now. So I'll put another piece of plastic under this, and then I'll cover them with mulch later. But I've still got to do the blueberry barrels, but that can wait. These are done, and I can now put the figs in here. Well, I'll put a bit more in, and then I can put the figs in. But I will add a little bit of soil and manure to this as well, because if it's all compost, it will sink. I mean, I've gone and trodden on it and stood on it and trampled it down to make it go down a little bit before I add any more. But it will sink a little bit. But that's a problem for another year, so I'll deal with that later. The Gojis should be okay in little pots, because then they will stay small, because over on that edge is going to be the strawberry tower. So once this rhubarb is gone, I put the flower stalk out of this yesterday. No, not yesterday, the other day. And it's come up again. It keeps coming out with it, but it's easy enough to get rid of. So that rhubarb will be moved at the end of the year. Then I can build a strawberry tower here, and I don't want huge great goji plants shading it out, but this will keep them small and large enough for what I need, and then, you know, there'll be a reasonable height, about this high, and then they shouldn't grow much more than that. And I can always prune it, but they'll not be able to run around and make a mess everywhere. Now, before anybody gives me any lip about using plastic, these are old compost bags that were destined for the bin. These are not my compost bags. Somebody else was trying to get rid of some compost bags, so I went and got them. So they would have been going to the landfill anyway, so I'll get a little bit more use out of this before it goes off to the landfill. Once it's covered in wood chips, it should last a good few years. And now the weeds are going to have a hard time getting through that, and there's an overlap there's a big overlap between these. So with the exception of bindweed that might wriggle through and come out there and go through and come up here, other weeds should have a hard time, and anything that sort of comes out here I can dig out, and the same on the other side. They will give me grief otherwise, and you can see it's already started. But you know, there's this stuff that was under the barrel already, and that will die off, because once that's covered like that, and I'll put a bit of cardboard here as well, and then put wood chips on top of it, that thistle won't survive. And these have come through the cardboard that I put in during the winter. A few have come up, but that's not bad. When you compare it to this, which wasn't mulched last year, you can see how bad it can get. So if I manage to deal with 95% of the weeds, then I can deal with the other 5% easily enough. These just come off. Right, these figs are the ones I'm going to put in, and they're just about, you can see, they're just about coming out of dormancy, so they need to go in. So I put some manure and soil in these 2 tubs, and I will add a little bit more of that compost on top of the manure and soil, and then I will plant them and put some more of that compost around it. Right, I've put some more of that compost stuff onto these barrels and put the pots with the figs in, and I'll deal with the weeds later, but just want to get them planted, and then I'll pull these out. So it's a case of just putting more compost around the pot, and then I'll remove the pot and put the whole thing into the compost. Right. So I'll just put a little bit more of this around the edges. So I've filled the top with, what I've got to do is take this off, and I've got to hold the size of the fig, so it's got some good roots on it, but that's the dandelion, and that's the dandelion. So I get rid of those, and then the other weeds are alright. Put that in there, and I will come and mulch it later. And it's the same with this one, a bit root bound, but it'll be alright. And finally, just a good drink. Now we are due heavy rains tomorrow, but it's quite a sunny day today, so just giving them a good drink, and then they should be alright. I'll keep an eye on these because they're in that sort of semi-rotted wood chips. I put a layer of manure in, so it should be okay, but if it starts looking a bit peaky, I've always got liquid plant food, so I can give it a bit of a nettle feed if necessary. Right, I've planted Gojis in these 2 pots. This one is just about coming out of dormancy, but it's a bit tidgy. This one's a bit better, so they should be okay. One of them should be okay at least. And then I've got 2 spare ones that are a bit scraggly. I'll see how they do. I've potted them up. If they do okay, then I'll give them away to somebody else, assuming that these 2 do okay. So I've got this bed sort of done. Obviously I've got some more stuff to put on that side, but that's for next year anyway, so I've done what I need to do for this year. This compost that's lying here, I'm still finding bits of carpet as I dig under this compost, but anyway, I've got rid of most of it, and I'll hopefully get rid of the last of it. And then this stuff I'm going to put in those 2 blueberry barrels. I'm not going to plant the blueberries this year, so I'm just going to put that stuff in and let it continue to rot down, and I will add some other things to it to let it rot down. I've more or less got rid of the stuff that's in this barrel. That's in the corner of the allotment, the top corner of the allotment. But what's in there is a lot of sludgy stuff and a few dregs of stalks of nettles and things. I can't really use it because as soon as I try and put it through the sieve, it just comes up the sieve. I'm going to add what's in here to the half-rotten wood chips, and hopefully it will all rot down together and produce nice compost. And then next year I can add a bit of sulphur to acidify it and get it right for the blueberries before I plant them in the spring. Right, I've taken all the sludgy bits and all the little bits of stalks and things out of that barrel, and I put it on top of those almost broken down wood chips. Now it started to come out of the bottom. Got a bit more here. Behind these two blueberry barrels I've got this Dalek, and it's got a bit of space in it, so I'll put some of that stuff on top of this and it will help to break that down as well. And this barrel in the corner is now more or less clean, so I can move it and then I can sort out this corner. Unfortunately, this seems to be the state of the chippings bay. There's hardly ever any chippings available, and when they do come, they go in a matter of hours, whereas before they used to sit there for days or weeks. Not anymore. We hardly get any, and when we do get some, it disappears. So that's a bad turn of events, but we'll have to live with it, and have space available to store them as soon as we get them. I've finished covering this bed with wood chips. Now that is all the bindweed and weeds that I pulled from the old chipping pile that was here. That's all gone, and this stuff is new. I'd finished and I was thinking I've run out and I just haven't got quite enough, and then this arrived, so this is all done. And around the coal frame now, this side has also got slabs, so there's no way a badger can dig under this lot. That was covered already. This bit is between this bed and this bed. It had the skirts, and then I've added a bit of weed fabric along this bit and mulched that. That's overlapping, so there's no way that weeds can come up through here. Now the odd bit of bindweed will wiggle and work its way through there, but I can deal with that. It won't be like this. It'll be one or two bits of bindweed. This side of the bed is obviously not done because I'm going to be putting the greenhouse here, so just put some stuff here to block the weeds. You can see what they're like, so that's just there to block the weeds till I get around to building the greenhouse. That front was covered the other day. This side of the coal frame is stones. This side we know is like this, and I will dig some more of this up and use it up. But there's no way the badger can dig under this because it's solid concrete slabs. And I put a concrete slab over there, and there's going to be pots with peas in over here, so there's no way that any badgers will be able to dig under the fence. This is the fence that I used last year, but it's only necessary when the sweet corn is almost ready to harvest. So until then I don't put it up. So it'll sit here because I'm not going to be using this bit of the bed. Obviously these figs haven't grown to cover that area, so they'll be fine. These are the ones I put in the other day. They're starting to bud out, and same with this one, so they're happy. And the Gojis I put in the other day are also happy, seem to be doing okay. So I've left them a little bit to settle in. I didn't put any extra fertilizer in these pots because I didn't want badgers and foxes to come in and dig these up. I mean, they're not going to do anything to the figs because they're deep in and they're on a tall pot, but they can easily come in, and these aren't that deep rooted, so I don't want to come in and find that they've been in and dug it up and it's been chucked on there and it's been sat there for 3 days and dried. So I didn't put a load of fertilizer in, but I'm adding a little bit, just a little bit each time. I'm going to add it little and often. This is my own brassica mix, which is fish blood and bone, a bit of seaweed and some lime. And Gojis prefer a slightly alkaline soil, so having a little bit of lime in there helps, and the lime might also help to mask the smell of the fertilizer. So I'll add that in, and I'll do the same with these others. And I will eventually mulch these, but Winston cut these hedges between my plot and his plot. When he was cutting the hedges, he managed to catch a piece of this gooseberry that was up here. I found it lying around. I cut it up and potted it up to see if I could get any cuttings. I've got this one that survived. The others, these are all, there's a lot of weeds in here that I pulled, chopped and dropped. This other one seems firm and won't pull out without a great deal of effort, so I'm hoping that it's rooted, but it's not showing any sign of life. There's no leaves or buds, so I'll leave it, see what happens. But this one I want to protect from weeds because the dandelions are already here. It wouldn't take a dandelion long to swamp this, so I'm going to try something that I know will work to protect it from weeds. Now, I've taken some of the weeds that were in here. I've taken some of them out, but there's some in there. I don't really want to start yanking weeds out, because if I pull the weeds that are close to this, I could actually disturb the small roots on that. So I've cut some newspaper close to a semicircle, so it will cover that one, and the same on this side. Now this will absolutely stop any weeds coming through. So this is all protected by mulch. Obviously you don't want mulch to be touching the plant, so that should be well protected now. So these are now all mulched. So I've got the 2 goji berries and the gooseberry. I've got 2 bare Gojis. We'll see how they go. If they do okay, I'll give them to somebody. And I've got my figs also mulched and ready to go. And these 2 are spares. I've given a few to other people, but I've still got a couple of fig left. This one you can see is just about budding out. This one is not quite so lively, so I've got a spare there anyway, if somebody else wants it. The 2 blueberry pots here, I put all those clippings and chippings and sludge from the bottom of the weed barrels, and I've done some weeding, things like excess raspberries and bits of couch grass and thistle and creeping buttercups and things. So I put those in. I'm going to cover this up and let all of this rot down over the next year, and next spring I'll acidify this by adding some sulphur. Then I can plant my blueberries into these. So these are ready as well. I've hammered this into the ground, and I've hammered this into the ground, so they're firm. And this long piece is going to go round this, and this one, now it's got a bit of a knobbly bit there, but it doesn't matter. This will fit in there. Okay, that's done. This one's a bit wobbly, but this one is firm, so that's alright. And it's only got to hold a few peas. Unfortunately, this is a bit curved. Not perfect, but it'll do for now. And in due course, I'm sure I'll find something better, but it will do for now. I inherited quite a few of these bean and pea netting packs. They're all in the shed, so I'm going to use one of these. This is 6 meters by 1.7 meters. Height is okay. I mean, it's a bit on the long side, but I'll cut. It says, you know, it's rot proof and reusable, so you should be able to use it year after year. So I'll just tie it up and bring it back when I'm done. Right, I've put the netting up, and I've got the tubs ready to put the peas in. Now, when I fill the tubs, I can put in the net down and put clips in. I've got some manure here, so I'm going to put a little bit of the manure at the bottom of these pots, and then this stuff will go straight in there, and then the peas will be planted in there. I put a layer of this well-rotted manure at the bottom. So what I'm going to do basically is make a path and put it in there. Now there will be the odd wood chip, but we'll go for that for now. And obviously any bindweed and rubbish we'll take out. And if there are little big pieces of wood chip like that, I'll take those out, but tiny little pieces I'm not too fussed about. They'll sort themselves out. Right, I've done the first 2 trays. I'm leaving this one because I'm still not 100% certain that the mice won't get these. I'm hoping that they won't, but if I come in the morning and the mice have destroyed these, then I've still got a backup. And just to show you, the net is put on the back with these little hooks. It's put on the back with these little hooks, so they just go in like that, and then that's it. Just a little bit of bent wire and that's done the job. So hopefully the mice will not grab these and eat them, but we'll see, we'll see. So timer and the weather has caught up with me, so time to go home and pray that the mice leave the peas alone.